Hey fam, I hope you're doing fine. Welcome to yet another season of the Evolve with Intent podcast. I am super excited to welcome you to season 3 of this podcast. First things first, guys, I am really excited. I'm in such a good mood recording this because I remember starting this podcast 2 years ago. First episode, I really did not imagine us come this far. That's why I want to thank you so much for listening in each time, sharing your opinions, sharing feedback after every episode. That way, that's how I've been able to push through, because each episode I put out, there is always some sort of feedback that makes this feel worthwhile. So thank you. If you've listened to this episode from like the first one, you remember how we struggled back then, really, and to see how this whole podcast has evolved and grown. And to think that you've been part of that journey for me is, I don't know, I don't have the right words to explain, but it's beautiful. So thank you so much. I'd like to welcome you to season 3. There's a lot coming in season 3, but in today's episode, I'll just go ahead and tell you right about that now. So guys, without any particular order, I'll go right at lesson number 26. Should I start with 26 or 1? I'll just go right to number 1 because they are not in any particular order really. I was listing them as they came to mind. I've picked these. I've been thinking about this, I think, for an entire month to piece them together. Which ones so I had like a whole list of like 35, and then I picked it. I'm like, these are like the strongest that I've stuck out for me. So 1, as early as you can, embrace intentionality at life. If you're hearing this at 21 or 19 or 16 or 31 or at whatever age you're at in life, if you have not embraced a thing called intentionality, this is your wake-up call. Please sit with yourself today and ask yourself, who am I? What do I want to do with my life? How do I envision a made-it version of myself? These are like very simple questions, but like the most, triggering, very soul-searching kind of questions that will haunt you to know that you are in a place you don't want to be, and then there is a person you want to become, and you're not doing anything to become that. The moment I ended up in that headspace of like getting intentional with things I'm doing, where am I, who am I talking to, why am I spending my time with, why am I hanging with this person, why do I go to this place, the moment I was able to start now answering or even having the haunting feeling to answer these questions, a lot of things around my life changed. And I want to urge you to do the same today. If intentionality is not something you've embraced right now, today, you need to get started. Lesson number 2. No one is coming to save you. No matter how sad you think your story is. If you've been part of this journey like way back, I think I sang this song like, a lot of times. I've told this story before, but with my background really, I kept thinking my story was so sad. I thought I was like the most underprivileged girl. I had convinced myself in my head that whatever had happened to me or where I come from was like, I was supposed to draw some sort of pity and some well-off, boss or whoever was supposed to come and hear my story, be like, oh, this little girl, it's okay, you come, I help you and transform your life. The self-pity is going to drag you years back. I get it, life is sad and unfortunate, but it is life. Bad things happen to people all the time. Cut out the self-pity today. No one is coming to save you. If you are lucky to have people come and hear your story and then offer you a helping hand, I think that's a miracle. That's a blessing. Hold on to such people. But a lot of times, 8 out of 10 times, it does not happen. So you don't want to take that risk. Get up today. No one is coming to save you. Lesson 3. Be humble. You're not the first one here. You're not the last one. There have been awesome people around this world in whichever space you are and you can be replaced. I cannot stress this enough. I wouldn't say I've learned this from personal experience because I am always like the but I've noticed a lot of times that a lot of us can be very, I don't know, over in our heads about things for some reason. And I don't know if it's a Gen Z thing, but our level of lack of humility is like really alarming. Like, as in, what is in your head? Like, how delusional are you about yourself? And at some point, delusion can be a good thing, but at some point, it's not. So be humble. There've been better people here. There've been more intelligent, more genius. There've been more talented people in these spaces. And for some reason, our generation sort of feels like, I am untouchable, I am unstoppable. That arrogance is going to be the reason for your downfall. So I would say, as much as you're ambitious and driven, and I would say, please, at the back of your mind, keep the thought that you're not the first one here. You are replaceable. Lesson number 4. This one. Don't ever think it can't happen to you. Now, this was me, I think, at 22, 21. I used to think that if I, initially reading like my stages of growth, I used to think that if I don't know, was at this place at 7, or if I did things right, if I always thought that if someone was in an unfortunate circumstance, it's their fault. I had this story, I don't know where I picked it up from. I don't know if I was in a taxi, but there's a thing that happened to me some time back. I was looking at 2 different men, really. They all seemed like they were in the same age bracket. So one was pushing a wheelbarrow in, I think, town, and then another one was opening his push car to get in with his kids. And now I'm thinking, I'm like, how do 2 people of the same age happen to have 2 totally different, opposite lives? And then I'm thinking, I'm like, this man pushing a wheelbarrow must have made terrible decisions in his life, and he ended up in a situation. This man in a Porsche car must have done everything right, and that's why he's successful. I know, jokes with me, right? But yeah, growing up, of course, you eventually now start to see life more clearly, really, and even the things that I thought would not be a reality for me, I've seen them come and happen to me, even when I thought that can never be me. Oh my God, I know better. No, you don't. At some point, life has a way of putting everyone in their place, and it actually did put me in my place. So I think, don't you ever think that things or stuff can't happen to you, because it can, and even in a worse way that you never even imagined. This one is very obvious. You've heard it a million times, but I'll share it again. It's been around my 26 years for a while. I've been trying as much as I can to learn about patience. I am a very impatient person. Like, I'm a very rational, like, let's get this done. Like, can you get this out of the way? Like, like, what's the drag? Like, but I noticed that I was applying that same attitude to even different things, like things that actually require actual patience to mature and bloom, and I've noticed we have that a lot even as a generation in regards to trying to chase our careers or success or achieve something or buy a car. You want things to happen to you overnight, and yet I'll expound on this later. I've learned this now is in my system. I think there is stages to growth and learning. You see a thing, you're okay, next thing you're seeing it happen in your life, and then you learn the lesson later. With patience, it's now in my blood system. Initially, I was just reading about it. Patience pays. Those random quotes really about it. But I've seen it. I've seen what patience can do. I've seen successful people speak, and the only thing they can tell you is be patient with your process. And Gen Zs, or at whatever point you are in life, I think if you haven't embraced patience, you really need to notice the patterns around successful people who have something tangible or something solid to show for their lives. If there is one thing they can tell you, is you have to be patient with your life, with your process, with everything you're doing. Nothing happens overnight. Now, with this, I wouldn't say I've truly mastered it, but it's a lesson I'm still trying to embrace. Lesson 6 is about conflict. I was sharing with a friend who was telling me about something their partner told them around conflict. They had a fight, and that small fight led to my friend saying, you know what, this is not working. Let's end this. And then their partner told them that conflict is good. You cannot consider separation just because we had a misunderstanding. And I thought that was like really mature to say. I thought, okay, not that I probably didn't know. Not that I didn't know. I hadn't really thought about it that way. I always thought if we are friends or if we're in a workplace or in a community or like if you're dealing with people and there is conflict, the alternative is, okay, this is not working, bye. But the way I understood it that day was if we are people working together in a community and there is conflict, the right thing would be, hi Joanne, I didn't like the way you handled this. I mean, I think I think again it takes two to tango. If both parties are like willing to solve conflict, then it can actually be a good thing. In this case, and now I'm trying to embrace it, that if each challenge I encounter with like people or places with like a situation, I don't think of it as a way to give up or as a way to walk away. I think of it as a way of understanding, is there a thing I can do to adjust, or is there a thing the other party can do to adjust? Then yeah, gradually, one day at a time. I think I'll get to that, but I hope that's something for you to think about as well. Conflict is not entirely bad. There is conflict that actually even brings you people closer. You understand they don't like the taste or smell of milk, or it's, or you don't like how when you back at them, or you don't like, like it's good. I didn't like that. How can I make it better? Lesson 7. Life will eventually unfold the way it was meant to be. This, I think, for some reason is somehow attached to don't ever think it can't happen to you. When you're in this journey of like growth, you've noticed that as well, that even when you're like really intentional about things and like have a plan for life and like I want to do this by this age, or I'm going to treat this person like this, at the end of the day, life is going to unfold the way it was meant to, because at the end of the day there are powers beyond our own reach or our own control, really. So there is God. If you're a believer, you know that at the end of the day He has a plan for you. So you can say, I want to have a family at 27, and for some reason by 27 you haven't even found a man or a woman to like consider and say, okay, I want to start a family. Like, I hope this gives you ease, because that's what it gives me. I hope it gives you ease to understand that at the end of the day, you can only do so much. Be intentional, be very, very careful, or I wouldn't say walk on eggshells really, but like you have a plan. I want to do this, I want to do that. If it does not come, it is still okay, because at the end of the day, you're not in as much control as you think you are. At the end of the day, this life is a gift from God. Younger people have passed on, older people are passing on, people your age are passing on. And when you think about it, that at the end of the day, when you go to bed, it's not a guarantee that you wake up the next day. It eases down your anxiety and like, I need to get this done. I need to have a family. I need to get a man. I need to get married. I need to get that job. I need to leave the country. It eases down. At the end of the day, we have different stories, and your life will unfold the way it was meant to. Lesson 8 is mainly for young people, and I'm sharing this from experience. A lot of things will happen to you subconsciously while you are young. And at that point, I don't want to say your brain hasn't matured really to process them. It's like how people tell stories of like, Or when I was a child, I saw I don't intend to attack anyone. I saw my mom, my dad beat my mom, and I had to do this to like survive, and then they're sharing now as adults, and then they say, until I grew up later, that's when I realized that I was, they later realized something about themselves that they didn't know they were doing as a child to cope, which probably took them like down really a bad path. Same here. When you're younger, you're usually thinking, it's just life. It's not that serious. Like you do all these reckless things because you think, I don't even know what you'd be thinking as a person at that age, but probably because you're not conscious enough to be like, okay, you're just going through life the way it goes, and a lot of things happen to you around that time. And if you're not careful, you will grow up later, 2-3 years later, or even a year later, for you to realize you went through the grievous things that have like really damaged you, and now you can't reverse back time. And then you realize how stupid you are for like letting these things happen to you, because at some point you may even have had a way in making these things happen to you. So I would say, young people, please move differently. Like, intentionality and taking life seriously may not be your cup of tea. You be like, it's not that serious. Let me just, I get it, because I've been there. I wasn't always like this. I was always like, that one's too old. Adults taking life the way they want. Like, I get it. But I hope you remember this line. Be very careful the things that happen to you. A lot of those things will come back to you, and you'll be so haunted, and you'll regret it, and nothing is as painful as regret. Lesson 9. Perfection doesn't make you deserving of good things. It's like I like this one, because it's like a bubble, and then I'm like, boop, yep. Just because you're perfect doesn't mean good things are gonna happen to you. So this is like really broad. Like, even when you're trying to create or do your work, quit the whole perfectionist energy. Really, it does not make you for someone who's delivering and you who is perfect, at the end of the day, you've all really delivered. So even as a person, you get to if you're a perfectionist, you get to a point where you have this self-actualization energy, where you think, oh, I'm perfect, I'm pretty, I'm fine, I am intelligent, I am clean, I can cook, I can, and now for some reason it builds up some sort of entitlement and arrogance in your head to think that you are deserving of good things. Yet, unfortunately, again, boop, life does not happen like that. Perfection does not make you deserving of good things. So you may as well just loosen up, man, and go through life and have your mistakes and funny quirks and like funny laugh and funny shoe and like just ease it down, breathe. Things will come and go. Things will happen to you. Things will not happen to you. At the end of the day, embrace your awkward self and like imperfect self. Imperfect, not imperfect. Embrace your imperfect self and like just go through life. Did you see that? Lesson 10, guys. This is for me and everyone else who probably has this character. I noticed it about myself, and it's been like, I think, a terrible thing, and I've been trying to unlearn it and drop it. I don't even know where I picked it from, but guys, stop sharing so much information about you to people who have no business knowing what's going on in your life. Half of that lot is just curious to see if you're doing maybe better than them. There's like 2-3% that really just care, or even none. So as much as you're, I don't know, an open book, probably this is like to me, again, as I head into 27, as much as you're like an open book, really, and transparent, and you think people are like, because for me, the way it would happen is I would assume that the way I feel about people is the same way they feel about me, because I'm not thinking about you in like a bad way, or like, I'm trying because I think you're a friend, yet in actual sense, the other party is like, Like, of course, they're giving you the face of like, okay, I'm interested, I'm curious. But in actual sense, people really don't care. So the less people know about you, the better. Now, to my friends who are in the workspace, if you're working anywhere, delivering a service, you hired full-time, part-time, remote, or wherever, whatever you're doing, I want to emphasize this enough. Guys, be the guy that gets things done. Don't be the guy, the chick who's always whining about that, about this, about, hey, the internet. Oh, God, the computers are down. Do not be that person. Be the guy who shows up, gets things done, and then maybe you can complain later, or I don't know. I've noted this. I think I picked this from a video I watched Obama say, I think some time back. They were telling how young people can like make a difference. So like, if you're a young person, be the person that gets things done. Be a solution provider. Be the guy that if there's like a chain of like delivery that's wrong, be the guy that shows up and pieces that together. They never forget you. Bosses never forget that, because you made their life easy. Like, if you're not in a place of starting your own thing, or if you're in a space of where you can be hired, be the person that gets things done. Don't whine. I mean, no workplace is perfect, really. Like, so find a way of getting things done. That's like the super most important thing to any employer. They don't care if you like have a huge, I don't know, CV, or like if your papers are like the best, or if you're the guy that gets things done, you're more likely to stay in a workplace than people who do not. Lesson 12. If you're a young person, please cut down on how loud you are. This is, again, somehow still affiliated to humility. And honestly, sadly, as much as I hate to admit, I was once this person, just not loud on like TV or like radio. But like, take for example, if I was in a place and then I saw something going wrong, if we're in a community or a class, and then I saw this, I would be the first person to go like, hey, that's not like, I was like I don't know, discipline police, or like I was always that loud person. And then over time, as I grew up, I noticed that things do happen, and even older people don't call them out. Like, they just look at it. And this is probably confusing, but as young people, we're like very, very loud. Like, you feel you're unstoppable. You feel like you know everything. You know it all. You should like put everything right. And I don't remember how I really learned this one. But I think as I've matured, I've been in spaces where I've seen things go upside down, and I'm just sitting in the room and I'm looking. And I don't know, for some reason it started to make me feel like I was either smarter or something. But the old me, my God, I was hot-headed. I would like you do something that just doesn't sit right with everyone, and I would give it to you right there. It was a good, slightly good, but totally a bad thing, because now, when situations are not about you, they end up becoming about you. You're picking on stress you don't have to deal with. And now, for some reason, everyone in the room thinks you are arrogant and So if it's not your fight, don't take it on. And really, most times, most situations like that just need you to look and ignore. Like I am better than that. I don't have to get mixed up with this. And it's, again, I think as Gen Zs, we have learned to just let things be watch. Unless it's directly coming at you, then please speak up for yourself and fight for yourself. But if it's not, if it's in a workplace and things are going south, please sit and watch. If it's not directly rubbing off on you, please go do something else. I don't know, take a walk. Lesson 14. I've been thinking about hard on this one. I've consumed a lot of Black American content, really. There was a video I was even watching, I think 3-4 days ago on X, Twitter, of a lady who was sharing something around women. But I don't want to make this about women. As a human being really with human decency, I would say please try as much as you can to not sleep around as much. Yeah, our generation is like the our level of liberalism is like alarming. Like what? Like jaw dropping. I get it. We're at a time where you choose what to do with your body, but I would say if I was to tell my young sister, I would say protect, or young brother really, protect your body like it's wealth. Protect it like you love it. See how you treat your favorite pair of shoes. It's not something if your neighbor came and say, hey, can I borrow your shoes, you'd give them more. Like it's not something you'd give to every other person who wants to wear your shoe. Like people have different reasons. Out of curiosity, they want to wear your shoe. Some may actually like it, they want to wear your shoe. Some just want to go and show off to their friends, they will wear your shoe. Same. And now, growing up, I've really just picked it up. Like, the way I am in love with myself and my body, the thought of me just giving off myself like that makes me sick. Like, I feel like that would be like shedding off parts of myself to people, and that does not just sit right with me. Like being the way I am conscious right now, it sort of makes me feel like I'm losing parts of myself each time I give off my body to, like, I don't know, random people or people who are not even deserving. Because for young people, you think, it's just sex. We're just, like you're thinking it's, let's get this out of the way. You're not really thinking about. That's why I say a lot of things happen to you as a young person because you're not as conscious, and then you grow up later and you're like, oh my god, what did I do with my life? So same. I would say at whatever point you're listening to this, depending on how, anyways, you. So some people are like, I've spoken to people who really don't give it that much importance, and they're like, it's just. But if you are as conscious as I am, really, I would say watch out how, like, be very careful who you give yourself off to. It's a very sensitive, I don't know, wide conversation that would have probably in the future, really. But what I would say, what I have learned is protect your body like it's wealth, like, because you love it, you wouldn't give it off just like that. Guys, I know these are like not in any particular order, really, because the next one that's coming doesn't really resonate with the one that I was sharing before. But yeah, like I said initially, they're not in any order, really. This one is about, again, young people, and again, Gen Zs. You need to work the hardest right now when you're in best shape, when you're like strong and healthy. You don't have as much stuff on your plate. You're literally just starting at life. I would say work the hardest right now. If you're able to take on 2-3 jobs, don't feel pity for yourself. Baganda say tewe sasida. Like, you'll be shocked how much you can stretch. I think this is a thing I picked up early this year. I had that whole, I don't want to say self-pity because that's something I dropped a long time ago. I had this whole self-preservation, like, oh, will I manage? Oh my God, am I able to pull that off? But I ended up in a situation that I had to adjust or drop off. And I am shocked how well I've been able to adjust. So same, work, stretch your mind, like push yourself to work the hardest right now. If things fail, you can always reboot and start again. And then I think I also had this from someone who is older, who once said, she was like, I think we're at a meeting or something. She was like the team leader, and then she said, guys, if there is anything I can tell you right now for you young people, please work hard right now. I feel like I'm working the hardest right now, yet I didn't do as much in my 20s when I was stronger and like more energetic and I had all these ideas. And I thought that was a selfless thing to say, really. It's beautiful that she was able to share. But now here we are at our strongest and in best shape. And boy, oh boy, the things we're doing with our time. We spend a lot of time on TikTok. You're scrolling recklessly on social media. You're not like actually getting it's either you're doing manual work with like your body, or you're working your brain the hardest right now. It can't be you chilling and like, no offense to people that haven't had opportunities to like to be able to provide while you do something, but I would say push yourself as much. Now we have the internet. There is nothing you can't learn on the internet. You just need to find what you're interested in and make it a point. So in that case, you would be working your brain, and now your brain has the capability to take in as much information than you can imagine. Now, away from church and religion and what your mother or father taught you, you're going to need to find a way of forging a relationship with God or the power above in whatever you believe in. You need that part of your life to like have it figured out. I happen to come from a Christian family, a Catholic, and we were big on church. And a lot of that really came from the influence of my mother. But then I think 4 years ago, she changed religion and now prays with born-again churches. And for me at that point, it kind of like threw me off balance from what I knew about, I don't know if it was good at that time or religion, really. Because now I'm like, okay, the one person who really just, I don't know, gave me foundation for like religion and faith has like, and now she was trying to, take us along. And now throughout that struggle, that's when I think I learned that at the end of the day, I need to find a relationship with God. Not the church, not the priest, not the pastor, not anyone but God. And it's been a very, for lack of a better word, it's been a very revealing experience of who God is and what He can do in your life. And I want to push you to do the same. I know we're a Gen Z generation again. We're like freestyle and like, just going through. But I hope you spare 5 minutes, an hour of your time to just speak to God about things. Guys, I cannot tell you how far that stuff takes you. Not even the books, not even this whole podcast, not intentionality. Like, all that won't matter at the end of the day if you do not have God. Like, it can only take you so far until at a very, very key point, if you don't have the God element, the faith element in His power over your life, you'll see the gap between people who believe in God and those who don't. And I want to push you to be a person. I want to push us to be a generation that's able to do everything. Like, you're smart, you're brilliant, you're pretty, you're fine, you're aware, and you still believe in God. Like, the worldly things are not distracting you away from God. Everything is beautiful and happening in your life, and you're still able to give God the glory. Lesson 16. This world, this life that you have, the fact that you're able to take in deep breaths in and out, wherever you are right now, cleaning or like health, life is a gift. Each time, I'm sure you've experienced death at any level, from a friend or a schoolmate or a close family member or your parents. Nothing reaffirms how much of a gift life is to people. And me, that each time reminds me to make the most of it. And I want to tell you the same, guys. Make the most out of your life. Do not be mediocre. Do not just chill around and let your life waste away. Yet the people on a deathbed wishing to be healthy and like be okay and sober so that they can do all the things they want to do with their life. When you start thinking of your life as a gift, for some reason it's motivation enough for you to wake up at 6 and like, whew, I have air in my lungs. What do I do with this beautiful gift? Be chaotic. Guys, I've been having this conversation with a friend who believes the same. Really, life is a gift. A lot of people don't have it. A lot of people are passing on, and it's like, be wild, not wild, the bad word, but like let your energy bloom from inside you and like live and like start storms and like start things and get off things and like let the world feel your presence. That Joan was here, or Tom was here, or Peter was here. Like, live. Like, there are a lot of people praying to be in a position you are. And here you are playing small and living life on the edge and all scared and timid. Don't let society put you down to like give into like the pressure of things and like live like today, 15th of August, I'm alive. It's my birthday. What am I going to do with this new age? That's the energy. I know, and I know that's not the easiest thing to maintain the entire 365 days. But at least spend the 200 days of those 365 days feeling like that. Like, whew, new day. What do I do with this life? Do I listen to music? Do I go and dance? Do I hug a friend? Do I start a family? Do I start a business? Do I change the world? Like there's limitless things for us to do with this gift. And I hope you make it one that's worthwhile. This one is going to sound a bit political or something, but guys, history repeats itself. I've learned this over time. You remember I mentioned earlier that there is people that's been here before, were more talented, smarter, more ambitious, done these things, nailed them, and had to move on or pass on. There's a lot to learn from them as well. So history really does repeat itself. If you are keen with fashion, you notice that a lot of things have been a cycle. Really, they come and go. Mini skirts were once a thing. They left, now they're back. Like a lot of things in fashion keep going and coming. Same with life. The things you're going through right now, you're not the first one. People have been here. So watch out for their patterns. Look out for as much resources. Ask your mother, ask your father. Seek resources on the internet on how people were able to handle, take for example, global warming. I don't know if that's something that's happened before. No, but seriously, about life things, about careers. If you're trying to be a lawyer, there have been lawyers before. If you're like, the beauty about our generation right now is we have places of reference, probably from the internet, or even the people that were here in the recent generation are able to tell these stories. I know of a lady on TikTok, I've probably forgotten her handle, who is telling stories of Ugandan history. That if you're a history fanatic, there's like, she's like, her mind seems so rich with like all these things that she keeps sharing. And if you're trying to take a path in that direction, I think should be a great point of reference. Same. The people who have done podcasts before, and most of the knowledge that I've picked from these things is I've seen people who have done this longer. So if I'm like at year 2, there's someone at year 5 of podcasting, I am picking lessons. So like seek out knowledge. You don't have to do this whole thing alone, because I mean, it's your first time here. I get it. But I mean, the people who have been here years and years, and you could pick from them. Go and speak to your grandma. She has a lot to tell you about life. Now, this one goes to my girlies, to my fellow young girls, really. Free things do not exist. Yep. If you are lucky, I wouldn't call it a blessing, I would say. Unless it's your mom or dad or family or cousin or uncle. But if it's coming from someone who is not related to you, you are lucky, and you should be grateful to whoever has gifted you something or invested in you or given you. Thank you. But guys, free things do not exist. And we're at a time where girls have been told that, oh yeah, because I'm a girl, I need to receive, I need to be, I need to be gifted, I need to like, all these things, guys, come at a price. I have a friend I was having a conversation with on Sunday, and we're talking about men who give women money. In the woman's mind now, you're thinking that, oh, I should be able to receive. I don't have to wake up and work just as hard. What it's doing to you is it's corrupting your brain to think that even the potential you had within you to find avenues of like making money, for some reason, you give up on that because you think, oh, this is easy. I could just, do whatever you have to do to get money from person A or person Y. And I saw, we both, like after we had that conversation, we both went silent, and I think we both were reflecting about it. And we're like, oh, wow. It's like how, take for example, it's like how someone, it's like what the white people did when they came here. They, gave us what, I don't remember exactly what. Like you sell off your whole life's freedom because of small very short term rewards. I don't know if I'm articulating this well, but I really hope I am. My point is, for young girls, especially at a time like right now, it's like a lot of pressure, a lot of information on the internet, TikTok. My man paid for my trip to blah blah blah. My man paid for my trip, my shopping on my birthday. My man da 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 da. Like, I promise you guys, it is good, of course. No one doesn't like free things. I mean, if you give a man free money today, they definitely would be happy. It's human nature for us to want free things we probably haven't strained as much to get. But for young girls, I would say, if you're getting comfortable in that headspace, you're probably getting your mind corrupted to even think you cannot work as hard to buy your own car. With that same friend, we're talking about her car, and she was like, do you know there are guys that wouldn't believe that you actually saved up enough and paid in installments until you cleared your car? They're like, yeah. And then she refers to some TikToker who was once saying, if you see a young girl who is in her 20s, holds an iPhone and is driving a car, there must be a sugar daddy somewhere sponsoring that life. And I'm like how small-minded are we to think that a car that costs about 30 AM is like a lot of money? I mean, it's a lot of money. Of course, I know it is a lot of money. I don't even have 50k. But my point is, if you're willing to put in the work and save that money, you can actually accumulate 30 AM and more. And a lot of girls now, I feel like we're being corrupted to think that money is like, oh my God, if a man likes you and he gives you 500k, oh my God, that man actually loves you. When 500k is money you can actually make in a week or two. So, in the middle of our desires for free things as girls, and while they continue to pressure these young men, give a girl you like money, give a girl you like money. I mean, of course, give us money. No, but seriously, in the middle of all that, I hope at the end of the day, as a young woman, you expound your brain to think of ways of making money. As a woman, I don't want to say your own money. As a woman, like how men are told, so and so, Tom, this is how you find a job, make money, save up, buy this, build a house, marry your wife, take care of her. Like the same way men are taught these things on how to make, save, and make money accumulate, women need to acquire that same knowledge. We need, it's bad. It's like really, really bad. Oh, I need money to do my hair. And for some reason, you give up your freedom. For some reason, you think because someone paid for your hair, now they own you. I wouldn't say own. They're like, now you're their responsibility. And now you're giving off so much freedom for things you could actually just wake up and be smart enough to save up and plan. Your expectation from a man should not be monetary entirely. Your bar as a young woman should go higher than just a man who can give you money, really. This is such a broad explanation conversation that I want to have with someone else on this podcast. But I have so much to say about young girls, young women expecting money and then now putting the other gender on that pressure of like, I want money, give me money if you love me, give me money, give me money, give me money. As in... Oh, I forgot to add. There's a thing called sustainability. It's a thing around non-profits and I think businesses and startups. But the thing with, as a young woman receiving money from, I don't know, your partner or whoever, there is zero sustainability. If he's giving you money 1, 2, 3 years, good for you. Like, I mean, I would I would love that. I mean, every other girl would love that, really. But where is the sustainability plan in that? If he's giving you money while you're at school, I hope the plan is after you've finished. That ends, because at the end of the day, he is a human being. He'll eventually burn out. So it has to be fill my cup, fill your cup situation. If he's giving you money today, tomorrow he doesn't. Like, it all can't be you sitting back and like, oh, I am a woman, I need to be given and taken care of. That mentality is the reason as to why a lot of families are separating right now. Again, This is a conversation in a whole different episode, which we'll eventually have, since season 3 is here. And yeah, keep this in mind with the little I've shared. Do not forget to find ways of making your own money. Quit that whole I need to be given money mentality. Free things do not exist. You have to pay for that stuff. Lesson 19 is a bit related to my previous conversation about money. I saw this quote on Instagram, and the first thing that came to my mind after I'd read it was, again, money. It goes, once you carry your own motor, you'll know the cost of every drop. And again, it brings me back to what I was saying earlier. The reason as to why you keep pressuring these boys to give you money, and for some reason they also give in to the pressure and give you money all the time as a way of, I don't know, meeting your demands to meet the bar of men that you are interested in, is if you really knew how hard or how easy it is to make money in this couple of hours, you would not downplay a 20k or a 15k that a guy can take, or someone that they take out of their pocket and give you. Because, I mean, look at this country and the bills and the cost of living. If someone even has and I'm not talking about ridiculously rich, or, no offense, people who are stealing our government taxes, or like the corrupt. I'm talking about people who actually show up and work hard for their money and save up and have to accumulate money. If we are talking about that space, I probably sound like a broke person right now. But seriously, if you know how hard it is to make money and like pay bills and pay rent and like manage all these other things, you will have the respect to understand that a person who can even take away 50k from their money and give it to you without expecting anything in return is actually a lifesaver. So the reason you keep downplaying money, like, this is 50k, let me just, he sent me 50k, can you imagine? And you're thinking, you're like, wow. The level of entitlement is coming from a place of, you actually don't know how hard it is to make money. You don't know how hard it is for someone to have everything going on in their life and still manage to pick off 30k, 50k, and give it to you. So once you carry your own water, you'll know the cost of every drop goes to everything away from money around life. You'll give more things importance if you know how hard it is actually to pull them off. Now, lesson 20 goes to my brothers, really. Young men from your teenage years really to early manhood. You're just coming out here, 25, 27, next thing you know, you're 30. I would say find older men whose footsteps you can walk in. If you're lucky enough to have a father figure very present in your life, who's like actually invested in molding and shaping you to become a man, teaching how to change tires. If you have that privilege, well, good for you. But also a lot of men really don't have that today, and that's why we see a lot of men who don't know their worth or their value. That's why you'd rather go and borrow money to impress a girl who has zero value, zero standards, but just because in your head you're either brainwashed or you don't even know the right thing to do, you'd rather go through all that to just impress a girl. And I mean, there is the internet today. There are really good figures on the internet to follow and learn things about responsibility, about trust, about money, about manhood, about how to actually be a rooted young man growing and going the right direction. If you don't have those as well, I would say now maybe work on meeting people that are actual men of their word, men with responsibility, men who are actually men. Don't be a young man who simps. And I think I've noticed this in my character. I don't like men who simp. Like, can you be a man? No offense really, but can you be a rooted man? Don't be nothing tells poor manly character than a man who can easily be swayed by a woman. No offense. Again, this conversation is one to expound on really again in season 3 with men who I think would make like the perfect role models to a lot of young men today. But as you grow and evolve, try as much as you can to seek out role models of the kind of man you envision to be and follow in their footsteps. Lesson 21. Let's talk about social capital. I've shared about this before, and at 27 now, I'm really doing the most to try as much as I can to expound my circle of people. I've talked about this around people poverty. If you haven't listened to that episode, please go listen in. Lack of a social capital is what leads to people poverty. So the spaces you're in, really, who do you spend your weekends with, where you go to work, your friends, all those people are going to have an influence on who you end up as a person. So if you're spending the day with people who are just rumor mongering about, I don't know, TikTok or TikTok jazz, or I don't know, the latest celebrity gossip, your mind is probably going to be clouded around that thing. So as much as you can, try to expand your social capital, which is a thing I'm working on as well. Like, I'm trying to meet people out of my league all the time. And you notice now your conversations elevate from mediocre conversations to like broader conversations, very triggering conversations that inspire you to either think about, bigger avenues beyond your imagination, really. So, you know that saying of you're the average of 5 people that you spend time with? Yeah. Now, this one is something I've been trying to stall, and I thought I'd either do a separate video about it, but now, since it's my birthday really, and I was sharing these lessons, I thought I've learned to put in the work on things that I want out of life. It's one thing to say, I want to lose weight, these are my body goals, I want to rock that crop top, I want to wear this dress to that party. It's one thing to say and envision all these goals you want in life. It's another to actually show up and put in the work. I learned this from, of course, I've been learning it as I pick up different people's success stories. But you remember the Olympics basketball, the South Sudan team, guys. If you're an avid basketball fan in Uganda, you've probably seen how the South Sudan team, how far it has come. The gentleman molding. If you followed their story, you will know that actually putting in the work pays. There's a lot of behind the scenes things, of course, we don't see, but to think that these are like representation matters. To think that these are people we've seen here, putting in the work and trying and piecing this together and this dropping this, they pick that up, and to see that they go to such a huge platform. For me, their whole showcase really was, I don't know, I've never felt more represented in life than the South Sudan team playing at the Olympics, really. And the only key take home here really is, guys, we have to be willing to put in the work. When we watch the Emmys or the Grammys, really, we are seeing that those 3 minutes that they call a winner on stage for them to give their 1 minute speech and is all a representation of like years and nights and sacrifices of hard work and passion and dedication. And you have to be willing to put in the work to see the results of things you want in your life. Same for my podcast. I was reviewing my analytics the other day, and I'm like, okay, so 12 months are in a year. So 2 years was at 24. I only have 8 episodes to show for 2 years. And I'm thinking about all the times on the weekends where I probably didn't have much to do, and instead I was probably doing something else or just decided to sleep off. Like, if I wanted to make 50 episodes in 2 years, I would have. And it's unfair for you or for me to come here and say, I love this podcast, or I want this podcast to be a successful one, I want it to blow up and go big, and then not put in the work. It's silly, it's bogus. There is no point. It's lazy for you to say, I want to lose weight, I want to I want to buy a car, I want to, and then for some reason each time your salary drops on your account, the first thing you're doing is going to spend it, or like it's I don't know, it's a disservice to yourself. It's mean to yourself. You actually hate yourself if you do that. Same. So the willingness to putting in the work and the things we say we love is very key. Like we can whine and talk and envision and dream about all these things until we actually have to put in the work. So season 3 for me here is to trying as much as I can to put in the work and do less. I will, and actually showing up to do things. Now, for a lot of young people, with the way things look like in this country, there isn't as much opportunities for us to showcase our brilliance or get a job, or the number of graduates really is like 3 times greater than the employment opportunities in the country. I would advise, it's something I've learned over time, acquire as much skills as you can. Use the internet. The fact that you're listening to this episode, I'm sure that you have access to internet. So find things you're interested in and learn skills around them and find a way of making money off of it. If you're into communications, if you can learn how to do graphics and write and speak and edit audio and edit video, like, you're more likely to have more avenues of making money than just saying, me, I know how to do one thing and that's it. Times are really changing in like the most aggressive way, and it's coming to a time where it's just now survival for the fittest. And I've learned that I keep gradually pushing myself to like, can I do that? If I'm really interested in it, I'm not like saying I now want to learn about medicine. Of course not. If it's things like I have interest in, I'm like, okay, that's something I can find a way of making money off for me so that I can afford, a good, like, I'm not going to cut down on like living in a funny house because the cost of living is high. I'm going to find ways of making money. Last but not least, for young people thinking of starting a family, I've noticed that people around that age now, it's about that time really. Marriage, children are a conversation to have. It's no longer, oh my God, I'm pregnant. It's, oh, I am pregnant. It's about that time to start a family. I keep making that joke with my girlfriends about, we are grown ups now. It's no longer early pregnancy. It's, you're pregnant. Yeah, but seriously, for young people, young men and women planning or thinking or considering starting a family, I just want to say these are natural things that are bound to happen to us eventually. I would advise, if I was to tell my little sister, I would say take much time to find yourself first. Who are you? And this is not just for girls, it's for men as well. That's why I mentioned the thing about role models. Like, men are getting into family without even knowing what is required of them. Like, what do they have to do? What's expected of them? What's their contribution? So same even as women. Before you think of having a child or starting a family with a young man, I would say you both work on finding who you are as a person. What do you like? What don't you like? Leave your hometown. They keep saying that line and it sounds so cliche. If you're born in Masaka, please leave Masaka. Go and live in Gulu. Or come to Kampala. Or if you're born in Kampala, go and live in Entebbe. If you're born in Entebbe, go and live in Fort Portal. If you're born in Fort Portal, like, leave and find a way of finding who you really are. Why don't you like what you like? Are there things you're interested in? Do you like traveling? And I've been trying to have as many conversations because my research is not off the internet. My research comes from talking to different people. Like, so if I'm like curious about something around global warming, I'll speak to someone who does something in that similar, and then pick their mind rather than me reading a research paper on the internet. So I've been reading and researching and having different conversations with people around why a lot of marriages really don't last. And one of, I think, the most repeated reasons was we were young. We not thought, we actually were in love or are still in love, but we probably had not found ourselves. And now, at that point, by the time you're having these conversations, there's like 2 children down the road, really. You've probably outgrown each other. Not that you hate each other and want to kill each other, but you feel like you're drawn to different things. You want to travel the world. your partner doesn't. You want to, like, you're really interested in different things, and now the two of you are no longer. And that's why I like to think that if you're able to delay the marriage and parenthood conversation, not delay the conversation, if you're able to delay that part of your life and maybe start it a bit later and take you early years of growth to like find who you are, what you like, what don't you like, how do you envision your life at 35 or 45 or at whatever age or whatever your plan is, it saves a lot of time. Even then, now you're making an informed decision. You've seen the world, you've seen what it is like out there, and now you're like, yeah, with everything happening, this is what I want. Lesson 25 that I've learned firsthand, I've seen it come true in my life, is your past really doesn't determine your future. This is very one of those common ones, really. But you could be coming from, I don't know which village where no one knows you. But if you're willing to put in the work, and like, you will be shocked how your future can actually turn around. No matter what happened to you, if you can find the strength to use the experiences that have happened to you to shape how your future rolls out, you will be shocked at things you can achieve. So no matter where you're at right now, these 25 lessons may have left you feeling like, oh, okay, is it too late? It's not too late. It doesn't matter how old you are, really. I like to believe that. I've seen people say that you can start over at 30 or at whatever point you are right now, and your past won't matter. If you work up the strength to be brave enough to get up today and say, okay, this is not me, this is not what I want, this is not, and take accountability for your mistakes and the things you've done in your past, you have the power to use that as a tool to shape a very transformational person. So don't let the guilt or whatever you went through to pull you down, to make you think you're not worthy of a beautiful future. And now, lastly, this one is last because I intentionally made sure it's last, because this is where I'm at right now, really. Guys, life is not that serious. Get out of your head and live. I share this because I think for the past 3-4 years, I'm like those very serious people. I'm like very uptight. I have to do this like this. I have to be home at this point. Like, I do a lot of things by the book, partially because that's how I was raised, with like a lot of, like, I wouldn't say a lot of curfew, but like I had curfew from like my parents. And then even when I got out here, I still struggled to like let loose and like leave and like break rules. I'm not saying break rules, but you get my point. Like, leave. Life is not that serious. You could be walking down the street today and a bike knocks you down. Like, we've seen these ridiculous things happen in life. You remember the accident that happened in Entebbe, I think around Nkumba, where a random truck came and hit a guy. Like, as much as we are intentional, I want to create a space between in there where you just live and like breathe. Like, life is unfolding around you all the time while you sit somewhere in your house and get inside your head and overthink everything. Okay, this sounds like me, yeah, but really, from experience, I'm like those people who just overthink everything. And a lot of times I've noticed it's held me back a lot, but it's something I'm trying to like break loose from. At the end of the day, it's not that serious. The things that once mattered to you don't anymore. The people, places, the food, they don't anymore. The boyfriend you thought you'd never live without in primary 6 or senior 6, here you are in love with someone else again. I mean, breathe. It's not that serious. No one is getting out of here alive anyway. So and that right there is 26 lessons from a 26-year-old. I could have gone on and on, really, but life is a series of you picking and dropping, learning and learning things from like different spaces. And I hope as you take it day by day, whichever day of the year you listen to this, I hope you take each day as an opportunity for you to grow and become a better version of yourself. Because what's the point of life anyway if it's for you to just stay stagnant or not learn anything or aspire to become a better version of yourself? What's the whole point? So guys, I appreciate you for taking time to listen in to this episode, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.